We're live. Hello, hello. Welcome, stream. My name is Joe, as most of you should know now, hopefully. And welcome to another stream. It's the 28th of November. We are still in Cape Town. It's amazing weather today, and it's not as windy, so we will not be as distracted. Luis, how are you doing?
Very good. Thanks for the nice intro. What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another weekly demo session. As you know, every week we try to get together, share exactly what we worked on every week, the things we shipped, the things we built, the things we learned. And we're just grateful for you to also be here again this week joining us. We really enjoy that so many people also in the past weeks are joining the live streams, chatting, asking questions and so forth. And our commitment with Acta, as we're building multiple startups and companies, is always to really document what it looks like. We're still in the early stages, not making any really revenue yet, working hard though to figure out the 3 companies at once, and we're just excited to share it again this week live. So to the ones in chat, what's up? Say hi. Alpha CEO Shannon, good to see you again, also from last week. Good to see people again here. But week was good, I would say. Another good week here in Cape Town. A bit of sickness in the team. Justus, I think, was out for a few days because of some diarrhea. Regardless, Justus, I hope you're watching, I hope you're good. Anyways, Joe, this week, before we get into all of the updates from all the companies, which we're going to do in just a moment, you also worked on a new initiative on recruitment. So actually, we might start right there. What have you been working on? How was your week?
Thank you very much. So first of all, I started with growth most of the week, and it was a frustrating process. Loads of emails, not many replies. But nonetheless, we have a new topic coming up, which is way more exciting. And that is that you can join us very, very soon. And we're looking for exactly 2 people. 1 lead software engineer for Project Nova, for our AI coach, and 1 lead product or designer for our OrgOS, or we have a new name. I don't know if we're going to share it already or in the future. But anyways, we need a new UI UX designer and a software engineer. So if you are highly technical, passionate about the craft, and have more than 3 years of experience, look into the description. You can click the tally links there, and then you find more details over there, and you can just apply, and I will hopefully answer you.
Cool. And just to clarify, not maybe a lead engineer, but just a really good mobile engineer, someone that really loves also building out mobile experiences, because in the one project we want more hands to move faster. There's already a talented team, more on that in a moment. But yeah, for today, let's start with the different updates. And the first project we want to introduce to you is quite a new one. We just started 2 weeks ago. You want to say something before?
How was your week?
Oh, I mentioned good. A lot of stuff, a lot of thinking, a lot of strategy. But I'm going to share more also on what we did, I think, in just a moment. But yeah, let's get right into it, sharing what we did. So, Johan, you want to join us? All right. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
So for starters, I want to explain again what Johan is doing, what we're working on. The project is called Agent OS, and what we try to do is make it possible to prompt a company into existence. In other words, we are trying to build a nice orchestration layer for different AI agents that are working together to get a more long-running task done. It's quite a technical problem, and right now we're still in the research phase, trying to figure out how we could even build this in a technical way. And Johan is the genius engineer behind it. So we worked this week a bit together on what we can do. Actually, he was doing all of the implementation. I was just sharing some thoughts here and there, annoying him with new ideas. But this is, I think, the rough overview. Johan, how was the week so far? And then we jump into the demo, I think.
Yeah, the week has been crazy. Like, I've had this thing like where I really want to get to a point where I can like sort of show what I'm doing. But the thing is, it's basically like such a big task to build like sort of like a general purpose AI computer for like tons of these like use cases. So last week we set out that we're just going to focus on the sort of like software engineering, like product development stage, and build something that sort of like has like a very narrow scope around that. But even for that, like lots of research involved, lots of things that are basically benched for the coming weeks that we're going to look into.
Before we do it, also one more thing for the people who are watching live. We always love to also read your questions in chat. So there's something you're curious about, something you want to know, you want to ask the team, just drop them in right away. We try to answer them as we go about this. So questions are welcome. So yeah, let's look at the demo. You worked 2 weeks on this, and let's see what you've been able to do. I'm quite impressed with what you did so far, but some of the things I'm also seeing for the first time. So let's jump into it.
All right. I think that's fine.
Yep.
So the idea is we want to give the user basically as much and as little sort of input as they want to. So the general idea is that you basically just start out with the prompt, basically like manners, like a lovable, like a ChatGPT. And then we sort of ask like sort of guiding questions and give the user like a sort of general idea where the agent sort of starts like orchestrating the work, architecting, trying to get feedback for itself from like various sources, building sort of like a proper architecture for products, and then sort of executing it slowly in like multiple steps. However, like very similar to what we would use, like for example, like in a normal sort of software development lifecycle, where you have like a very like initial idea, but you do it in like very sequential steps. Because we see that like agents, they do generate like a lot of slop. But if we get them to like work on like very small, like very detailed parts, but give them the context of like what they're working on, like in the grand scheme, they actually produce like really good work. And we feel like a lot of other companies haven't done that up until now. So we really want to go into that. So I'm going to hand off the mic to Lewis and just guide you through that.
Cool. And maybe before that also, more generally, our dream with AgentOS is to replicate how a whole company would work today. So from a growth team you might have that does some online campaigns, to a product team, to the sales team, to all of the stuff that basically a company does. So we look at, hey, how does a company work and how can we now resemble the same behavior, the same work, the same quality in an agentic orchestration layer. However, starting with everything is really hard. So we narrowed down the scope in the beginning and say, hey, the use case which is most dominant at the moment is software engineering, building a product. So this is exactly what we're focusing on right now. But the idea is to really expand it into many, many different areas. So I would say I hand over back to you for the demo and you can take us through what is happening.
Yeah, sure. So it really sort of excels at the moment at tasks that have like a very narrow scope. So let's say like a Next.js app but without any dependencies, or just like a CLI where it can like locally test against itself. So for this like MVP, I've had like 2 integrations. You can add like a GitHub token and like a Vercel token. And the idea is that it basically uses them like intelligently to sort of figure out like, hey, can I actually like deploy what I'm working on? Can I actually show like the user, like the person who's prompting, like how I actually work in the sort of like software development lifecycle? So you can add those, but again, it sort of sees like if it can actually use it for its sort of context. So like what I really like to do is just like let it create a clone, because that's like a very sort of straightforward way of like approaching stuff. It can look at docs, it can look at like APIs and sort of figure things through. So it's like a very sort of like good scope to start out with a project like that. So for that, I'm going to work it to sort of build like a Rust CLI, like literally just like a CLI tool that sort of tries to take like linear, like the versioning sort of project management system, and tries to write like a really simple API for that. Because I noticed like if I like use something like Cloud Code or Codex, it's like really nice to be able to sort of fetch the task that I have like on hold at the very moment, rather than sort of like navigating through like the UI. So it's going to start working. We're just going to start with the prompt. On the left, we can see like a visual representation of how the workflow develops. So at the beginning, we just have a prompt, and then the architect starts architecting. So we can see it's like at the moment trying to figure out a plan for itself that uses usually like a very intelligent model. It looks at different sort of like tools that are usually used to work with these tasks. And this usually takes a very, very long. So like maybe up to like 2-3 minutes. I really want to show you a bit more, but it's going to take a while. So I'm going to guide you through some of the other projects that have been running for, let's say, 2 to 3 hours already, because Lewis had like a few ideas already in mind. And yeah, we can sort of see where these are going and if it's something that's like usable right now.
Let's go. Yeah, so I think also point to add, the dream for us is really to allow the use case of typing in, hey, create AI coaching app for founders, and I have this and this feature idea. The thing goes off, and after 6 hours, maybe 1 or 2 days, it comes back with the full working thing, and it asks you for feedback along the way so you can steer it into the right direction. But this is, I think, a use case a lot of companies try to work on, even the big ones from OpenAI and so forth. And of course, we're just, a very small team experimenting with a few ideas, but we do think we have some novel technical ideas on how to build this orchestration layer. And we're also focusing extremely hard on the orchestration itself, not so much on the foundational research for the models, because my feeling, at least towards the foundational models we have today in the large language model space, is that they're already quite capable if you really use them in the right way. And it's also this sort of shit in, shit out. If you write a bad prompt, you'll get a poor result. So we spend also a lot of time thinking about the right prompts for this product and so forth. But as you mentioned, you started a task 2 hours ago, and I'm curious to see where it is right now. So yeah, show me.
Yeah, so we have 2 tools. Like one thing is something like Lewis set out, I think like a week ago or something like that. So he wants like a stupid, simple roadmap solution because he feels like the current solutions are just like way too complex. You don't need that big of a scope for like a startup. So that's like basically like a very simple Next.js app. For the moment, for this like use case, it stores everything in like a local storage. So the idea is it's literally just for testing to see like if the UI is like nice, if it's something we can work with. And the second one is a scraper for X or like Twitter, where we want to look at we can just show you over here. So the idea is like ShadCN is followed by lots of different designers, and we want to be able to sort of scrape like basically all of them, and to be able to see like if they're like building nice products and like possibly connecting with them. So in this workflow, I have to. I don't know if you can like.
Can hold the mic.
Yeah, that's fine. I just have to zoom in a bit. So it starts out with the prompt. Like for this workflow, it's already done. It's already worked its way through. It architects a plan that sort of looks at like, okay, like what's like the huge like sort of overall scope of this like project. Then there's like a mixture of expert model that's usually something like Grok 4 heavy that takes like whatever the architect has engineered and backtracks it, does some deep research if like the tools are right, if the tools are up to date, because it has this thing where it just like uses stuff that's like way too old. Then we narrow the scope. That's just like a additional step for the MVP, because we really want to say, hey, fit it into like a Next.js app, fit it into like a CLI, don't do anything else, right? And yeah, then the lead engineer basically looks at this like huge collection, like basically the whole architecture, and tries to narrow it into sort of ticket-like structures that individual agents can sort of asynchronously work on. That's the whole idea. But as you can see, there's nothing attached to that anymore, because all the sort of subtasks in this like sort of task, like sort of workflow have already been finished, right? And if we look at the logs at the very bottom, we can see, okay, like one agent is like still stuck on the task. Let's see if that's something that makes the product break. He's like still working, might be some sort of endless loop. I don't know. I'd have to check later. Also like very sort of intentional is we let the agent sort of ask questions to the user, but they don't have to answer. Like this sort of agent orchestrator will always take the best approach it can find. And like if the user wants to give it a direction anytime during runtime, it's going to do that. Like you can always answer like a question, like can you be more specific? You want like a more sort of narrowed down solution, but you don't have to do that. All right, I'm not going to show you the same thing for the other product because it's like very similar. As you can see, like the UI is also like very simple. It doesn't show you that much yet, right? In the back, there's like lots of thinking going on, like lots of different sort of processes, but we're still not that sure like how we actually want to show that. We don't want to like overload the user, because some users that like use this type of solution aren't technical, right? So it might not be a good idea. We're still like thinking about that. So like a while ago, I think when did this happen? Like 2 hours ago, this finished. So this is like this sort of like scraper tool. So yeah, it made like a summary and yeah, just like a few commits. Again, it's like just like a small like sort of Python tool. So I think it's totally fine if it just like wrote 3 PRs, but we can see it sort of tries like sort of like a normal software engineer to write like proper commits. So if like whenever like a human wants to look at this code base again, they can actually understand what's going on. So yeah, I'm not going to look at this too much because I'm a bit more happy to show the other one. Because this is like the stupid simple roadmap app. And like I tried this sort of Versa integration quite a few times, and for whatever reason it didn't really work out all too much. But I'm really happy to see that this one actually worked. So it built like an app in like multiple steps over like an hour, and actually managed to deploy it, like no user interaction involved, and provided like a URL back here. It didn't properly escape it. You can see like the new lines here, but I think we can try it out. Can you hold this for a sec?
For sure. It's so impressive to see, by the way, while you're looking for the URL. I mean, this was built in 2 weeks. And the most interesting technical piece also behind it is, these are not just thin API calls where we have some markdown files we put back and forth between models with inputs, outputs, whatever. There's a whole, I would say, execution infrastructure behind it. You set up, I think, a Kubernetes environment where we have real virtual machines, so real virtual computer, where the agent can do work. And then we're plugging into things like Codex or Claude Code and so forth. And this, to me, is like one of the, I think, most interesting things that already are working, which are now hard to see. But in the background, there's a real infrastructure to execute these sort of things. So it's super cool. So let's see if the demo worked. If after an hour of work, AgentOS actually created what we wanted. So I'll hand back to you.
Nice. So for all the people who like haven't looked at this roadmap, like I think I still have it open somewhere here. So this is something that Lewis sketched out a while ago, and like I don't want you to read like all the small text, but I think it's I think it passes. Do you think so? Is it like I think the UI has like a lot of room for improvements, but this sort of like basic functionality that's being sketched out worked. I wouldn't say that the agent has like enough taste, like sort of in terms of like UI and stuff like that. But I guess it works. Let's just try some things out. So this is like all in local storage. I guess it works. I'm just gonna add something here, okay.
Cool. I mean, it's basic, but it's nice. Obviously, there's no database yet in the background. We could not like deploy this all the way. But just the fact, from a prompt, we got a deployed Vercel app, which has basic functionality there after 2 weeks of working on this. Is so amazing. And now, of course, we're going to add backend functionality to it. In this case, it also should have a landing page because I'm the customer, right? I want to sign up and create my own organization and so forth. So also we need to figure out how to actually things in the right level of abstraction for that in the product. But man, really, really nice. Really good foundation there. And of course, there's still tons of work we need to do to get this use case really right. But yeah, really nice. Anything else you want to share or good enough for now? Johan, well done, well done. I'm super excited to take this project further together with you. Any last final words on the stream? This was very technical, but I hope it was interesting to the nerds out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's still so many things I want to show you, but like the thing is, it just gets too technical, right? And like a lot of these solutions, like Lewis had this like sort of idea, like, hey, we should like build like in public from the very first like sort of start. But the thing is, especially with these sort of prompting solutions, I've got like a separate like agent VM solution, and it's like very, very sort of like simple right now, right? And I like stuff like sort of prompt injection and these kinds of things, I still have to work them out like the coming weeks. That's why it's like a bit unsafe for me to sort of like release it as it sort of like works right now, right? But yeah, more to come.
More to come and great start. Thank you so much, Johan. Good job, good job. All right, cool. So this was extensive view on what we're doing with AgentOS, what we did the last 2 weeks. Super stoked for working on a really hard technical problem. We all are excited and yeah, determined to build every week, make progress, work on hard things. But now we're continuing with the next project, which is ArcOS. So Akshat, you can join. For the ones who don't remember what ArcOS is, we wanted to build basically a tool on how we want to run our companies. And there's one model of running companies that I believe in from the past company I did, which is called role-based organization. So you create a canvas in which you don't necessarily think about job titles, but rather about the question, what things need to happen in my organization so we succeed and we win, right? And then you map it out by smaller pieces that need to happen, and then one person in the organization could have multiple roles in there. And you basically go away from just hierarchies and more towards thinking, hey, how can we create a self-optimizing, self managing organization of that sort. And this combined with nice metric tracking, because I know there's a lot of ugly Excel sheets out there in the world or Google Drives where you try to pull in data together for the weekly reportings companies are doing internally. We do the same basically. We have, many data sources. We are also building the layer where we can integrate all of the data that might be there for a team and bring it together with the roads. So a very interesting project that we want to build for ourselves, but also for other startups who want to run on this model and operate on this organizational model, this organizational design. So Akshat, let's jump into what you did. Firstly, how was the week? How are you feeling?
Yeah, the week was pretty cool and I'm feeling nice. Yeah, we were productive during the week, I think, and got more stuff sorted out. Maybe it doesn't look a lot on surface, but we actually spent a lot of hours discussing what the journey for a user looks like and how can we craft this experience to be really fast in those terms. But also some of the time spent into thinking like what value we are providing. How is it different? It's like we are selling a software product, but it's more about what value are we selling to the users and like how we can narrow the scope of the project. So, we focus on the important things and make it very intuitive for the user to naturally use it. Yeah.
All right. Let's jump in. Also, one thing for everyone, when you speak to the mic, always use it like this. So the stream, the people out there have the best audio, not like this. Yeah. Just a small tip for everyone. Okay, let's go. Akshat. Yeah. Should I comment through? Do you want to comment through?
Sure.
Which way?
Yeah, you can comment through and then we can discuss after that.
Sure. Okay. So today, I think what we did was I tried to map out the team structure for one of the ventures that we have internally, and you were watching me do that. By the way, how fast was that? Really good. Yeah. Optimistic updates for the win. And what I did here, I started basically with, hey, what do we need? We need a product lead, which is there to create clarity on how to build a winning product. We have a lead engineer whose purpose, like you can click on it, you have a purpose, is to turn features into changes in a working product. Mm-hmm. You can kind of assign it to a person. In this case, Arda is, by the way, we leaked all of our emails. Nice. But that's okay. Guys, don't email us. We have Arda here, we have the bug investigator, and we try to visualize all of the things which need to happen in this team for us to be successful. And this even goes all the way to the growth side, where we have a sign-up officer whose goal is that we have at least 100 sign-ups in this pre-product market fit stage, and the Instagram lead also helps there. And we just try to visualize how the different people work together in this organization. And this is the canvas we created. So you want to show how we create a new row in the product?
And I would like to add a comment. It's also like the thing we were thinking about a lot is a lot of founders and especially new companies and startups, they want to move away from like a hierarchical structure, like that was the old way, at least as far as I know. And like now people want to be more autonomous and they want to give people the ability to take their own decisions and, move the company forward in the vision they see fit rather than just one person dictating like you do this, you do that or something. Yeah. And also like while you were using it, it was interesting for me to see that you were also thinking more about, okay, how many roles do we have in this team and how we divide these roles. So, we get proper value out of it. Yeah. Coming through and then I will show to create a new role or a team. Yeah.
So actually maybe we look at the metrics also. Should we do now? So next to the roles in a given, team, we also want to, of course, measure the right numbers because what gets measured gets managed. And if we now click on dashboard, it's very easy for us to now pull data from, for now, 4 data sources. We're going to add a lot more in the future and then have a nice visualization here across, like this is like real-time data from all of the sources we use, from things like YouTube, from Post Talk, the product we use for product analytics, to Google Sheets, whatever it may be. And yeah, these are basically 2 parts we're marrying now. And now technically, I think we have a good foundation to add more stuff. We I think are close to now giving this to the first few people. Akshat is just going to create now quickly how we can create a very nice metric with just a few clicks. Instead of, having complicated API keys you need to add or so forth, we wanted to make this extremely intuitive and fast. So you as a, founder or leader or person who wants to run a team, you think of the metric and it's just 5 clicks or something and you're there within a few seconds, which is cool. Right now, AI is working in the background. Tell us, why is AI in the background? What is it doing?
Yeah, I went a little too crazy with the optimistic updates, so I will dial it back a little bit. But generally the idea is we do everything in parallel and as much stuff as possible before the user even clicks a button. So like once you are done selecting the drop downs, we can already fetch all the data and we can already save it and already make the chart ready for you. Yeah, so as you can see, it's going wrong right now and it is not getting created. Okay, it's here. It worked. But yeah, so we want a really fast experience for user, and even though we have to do extra work for it, it doesn't maybe show naturally because everybody is used to the speed right now and all top projects do it. But yeah, this is some of the technical challenges, or maybe more technical stuff I'm focusing on right now. Yeah.
Anything else you want to show here, or should we talk a bit about the new name? Because we also talked about the name a bit. Something else you want to show?
I think we can show maybe systems a bit.
Sure. Sure. And this is, by the way, still experimental. It's not the way it's going to be in the end, but it's an exploration, let's put it this way. So maybe you can just talk us through what you created as an explorative feature.
So right now, as you saw, we have roles and we have these KPIs, these data points that we track. But what we are also thinking of adding, or a new way of visualizing data or connecting these things, is having these charts on a canvas where you can connect them and maybe draw metrics that are cross-platform. So like it's like a hyper app where you can count, okay, how many people do I have on YouTube, Instagram, and my all other social media platforms. And then you can see relation, which of these people are coming on my app, which of these people are feeding into other parts of my organization, and so on. Yeah. So you can draw relationship between different platforms and maybe use this to optimize your whole organization and see, okay, which metrics are more beneficial and where are my bottlenecks. Yeah.
Yeah, super cool explorative feature, because the vision for this is that one day, hopefully in a few weeks, maybe months, the AI, so this product, will tell the person in charge of revenue, hey, if you increase your views on Instagram by 10%, it actually has a 5% increase in revenue, because this is the most well-performing channel, for example, because we can really map out the relation of different metrics in the business and put them in context and make you understand. And things like this exist for very big corporates and enterprise companies. You have sensitivity analysis you can do, you have data analysis or data people who figure this out, but the typical startup or tech company typically doesn't have that yet, right? Yeah. And even I think for a small team, let's say with 15 people who are doing a few million revenue a year, this can be extremely useful because they get the tools that also bigger companies get to make better decisions, to perform better, and this is the whole idea around it. The thing I just teased is we have a new name. We looked at OrcOS and it was a good working title, but looking a bit in the internet, no domains were available and didn't really feel fully right. So today we brainstormed a bit, and I think we were lucky that we came up with a good name and also an initial landing page. I'm excited to share that. Should we go into it?
Yeah, for sure. I can
cool.
Go in and you can show it. Yeah, so today we were thinking about this name situation, and Louis came up with a really cool word which he found on the internet, a Japanese word. It's called Rio. So it stands for being calculated, being more sophisticated, thinking about what you are doing. And yeah, so we are gonna probably go with that name, and I think Louis can explain this much better and like me, but sure.
Yeah, no, it's I think a nice anecdote. It sounds very nice, to the point, also modern. We always go a bit for the vibe, how it makes us feel in the end. A name also doesn't matter too much, but still I think it's nice that we can associate with it and feel it's fitting to what we do. I also created this first little landing page, and what we went for here is really a minimalistic Japanese type of design, I would even say, where we want to make it really calm. There's almost a reference to paper and how paper feels, because the point of this product is to help your team have more clarity and perform better. And this should match also with the design language that we're choosing. And this was the first concept we created with early pricing concepts. The really funny thing we realized today was RIO also stands for Redesign Your Organization, which was a coincidence, but when we figured this out, we were like, yeah, we need to use that name. So this is the early preview of the landing page of the design language. Still more work needed. You had also some good points there. It's not colorful enough yet. However, I think this anecdote to Japanese design really fits. At least it resonates with me. So yeah, this is a small update also on that end. Yeah. Cool. Akshat, thank you so much. Good week, I would say. And we are gonna continue, I think, with Eli, right? Eli, let's go. Okay, so this was the second update from the, in total, 3 companies we're building. And now we're gonna come to the third company, which is called Reflector. Wow, I messed up that name. Actually, whenever I use ChatGPT or a transcription app and I say Reflector, it always says Reflector, and I started picking that up now. So sorry for that. However, we launched an initiative a few weeks ago called Nova, which is a completely revamped experience. And the idea behind the company is still that we want to give AI coaching to everyone. Or actually, let's reformulate this. Coaching itself, working with a coach that helps you go through your problems, get clearer on strategy, make better decisions and so forth, is there with you. It's really expensive, not accessible to everyone. And the reason why we started this company is to make exactly this accessible to more people. Because with AI, we had the hypothesis that we can build something which is almost as powerful. It will not fully replace a human coach, but it will be a nice complement for people to have those micro moments. And from this, we had the first versions, which were really shitty. We learned a lot. We made the first paying customers, but we're not really quite there. And then Elias basically took over here and together with Arda worked really hard on, I think, the promise of what this project can be. And I'm super stoked to see the update. I think it was some hectic days in the last days, wrapping up the last details. How are you, Elias? How was the week? How are things going?
Sure. Good. First of all, thanks for the nice introduction. Also, I think I'm going to have a pretty hard time doing a nice presentation after these 2 boys here did a super impressive job with their demos. Yeah, the week was great. For those who remember from the previous demo session, we actually set out to launch last Saturday, which did in fact happen. So that was great. And that's pretty much the starting point for my little deck.
Just quickly verify, yeah.
All right, all good, working. So, now to the post-launch debrief. Let's maybe start with, how we went about things. So for this launch, to me, it was really important to kind of reach out to people personally. And also in the past, I kind of learned that this was the best way to actually, get into those conversations quicker and also have people who are more willing to actually, maybe even hop on a call with you. So that's the first thing I did. Basically just took all the people which we had on the wait list, which the media team has kind of been filling up for the past week, and just reached out to them via, voice memos and then sent them the beta test flight link. After that was...
Yeah, I think just a cool thing that I really love to see. It's a classical, I think, doing things that don't scale to a degree. It would have been easy for us to just send a link via email and, try it and let us know, and we look at the data. But what this guy did is, messaged every person personally on WhatsApp. I think you dropped even voice notes or something, explaining, hey, this is what we're doing, let us know. And every time you got a response, you were also so happy, right? Because people are really excited to, shape a product with you, with the team, and be so early and close to what we are building. And this, I think, was also a key moment for me, because it shows, again, being so close to your customers, talking to them on WhatsApp even, makes such a difference. So that was nice to see, at least from my perspective this week. Yeah.
I mean, it just makes the entire experience kind of feel special and exclusive, and therefore people are just much more willing to actually, take another step into your direction then. So obviously I had a lot of customer conversations. As I said, it was pretty easy to actually get people to talk with me, which was amazing. However, we also had a lot of bugs which were reported by users, which is a positive and a negative thing. More on that later maybe. And obviously we tracked metrics, but I think that's almost needless to say. Maybe a little side note, we got some really beautiful feedback messages and really extensive ones as well. Yeah. Now regarding the bug reportings, we basically, I think 2 days ago or so, kind of made the decision to rebuild most of our AI architecture from scratch. Since this is, it seems easy on a surface level, but if you, look a level deeper and see how many prompts we have and how they're actually constructed and how the kind of whole system has to play together to make this a nice experience, it takes quite a bit of time to actually, think about those things deeply. And it's definitely a learning there that, speed is super important and all. At the same time, though, we shouldn't be sacrificing some key architecture decisions in that process. Yeah. Now, to the numbers after launch, which is always super exciting to watch in post-talk, I think. You can kind of get into this habit of just refreshing all the time to see if anything has moved yet. So we got a total of 43 signups, which I would say is pretty decent, also given that we only launched on iOS, and we had lots of people just reach out asking whether we also had launched on Play Store, which maybe might come at some point later. Now, the really astonishing part, I think, is the retention rate. I don't know about the previous iteration, but with this one, we actually managed to get around about 50% retention with people who completed the onboarding. So obviously, this doesn't take into account people who just opened the app and then left right away, but that also wouldn't make sense to track. But that's an amazing metric, and that's something which gives a lot of hope into how this thing can move further.
As a comparison, the day 2 retention of Reflector before was, I think, 7% or something. And this is where we were like, we got something wrong in the experience. On this point, also quickly shout out to Arda. Arda right now is unfortunately not with us here in Cape Town. He's still in Germany. We're working hard to get him here. But Arda really grinded, I think, last week and the weeks before. He just showed me all the issues he did on Linear, like effort points basically. And this guy worked like crazy. And the thing I think we see again when you're building a startup, like this work ethic and being down to really grind hard and getting a lot of dopamine and excitement even from doing hard things, even though sometimes it sucks. And we had to refactor some of the stuff because it wasn't done the right way or so forth. Having, someone with this spirit to just work hard for the project, for doing what it takes, is just such a big help and such a good character trait, I think. And most of us have that, but also Arda specifically, I would say, shout out, really well done this week, as always. And excited to have you soon here, bro. Yeah.
Also, shout out to Arda. Love you. Okay. Now, also we had around about 40% onboarding completion rate, which I think is pretty decent as well. Now, for the next steps, we're not 100% sure yet, but definitely it's going to be a lot of, refining and also still kind of continuing the refactoring which has been going on. And then we're kind of slowly getting ready for maybe a bigger batch and, even maybe submitting to the App Store and maybe even Play Store. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see this version in Play Store. Yeah. That's it from my side.
Cool. One question that was asked in the chat is what is going to happen now to Reflector? Is Reflector dead, or what is with Nova and so forth? And the thoughts I would share, so Reflector is still out there as it is, right? There's the web version, there's a mobile version. I personally also still use it a few times. We have, I think, almost 100 people every week who are actually using it still, which is very nice to see. And we're still getting some good feedback here and there. So it's not going to be, shut off and you cannot use it anymore. However, what we just found with the product iteration cycle, with finding product market fit, sometimes those incremental adjustments to the experience that is already there are not enough, because the problem is basically bigger than that. We thought basically about the wrong form factor for Reflector as it is today. So we have a few paying customers there. We want to keep that, of course, for them. They can still use it, do what they want, but Nova will be a separate thing. But our love and energy currently fully goes into that, because we think this is version 2, just so much better from how we think about the form factor. I'm actually in version 3 by now. We had a few versions before, but this would be my take. What are your thoughts on that? Does it resonate with what you have in mind?
Speak your mind, bro. I mean, Nova in the beginning kind of started out as this little experiment. At the same time, though, I kind of feel like at some point it outgrows that. And I think especially now, after we've kind of been looking at the numbers and how the product feels, we kind of made the decision to actually make it a real product. This, to me, doesn't mean that Reflector has to die and we have to take it away from the App Store or anything. But at the same time, though, I think it's very clear what where now our attention belongs to. That's pretty much what I can say.
And I would say every user that is using Reflector will happily onboard you to Nova, maybe give you even a month free on the Pro thing. You can try it. We'll find a good solution there. If there's questions, just DM Eli, I would say, or message us. Cool.
By the way, I think...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I think Chris is going to put the link for the beta testing in the description, I guess, right? No, for the beta testing, the test flight link. Yeah, the test flight link directly. Awesome. Thanks. So just check in the description.
Good job. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Arda. Let's continue with the last part of the stream. All right. By the way, some users are in chat. Thank you so much for trying the product, for letting us know what you think, how we can do better. We could not build this product without you guys, and we're also building it for you guys, so this is really helpful. Chris, the media team, you're still alone. Where's Justus?
Bro, unfortunately, shout out to Justus. He's still sick. He's at home. Yeah, what should I say? It's sad. I'm missing the best part. Him, my co-founder, my dear co-founder. Hopefully, you're gonna be fine. Next week, however, we still try to crush that week, even without you, unfortunately. And there's still some questions in the chat, right? I saw like one or two. One question.
Maybe one on Agent OS. If Agent OS can help me to write research papers, this would become very successful. Good one. Well, it will be flexible. We're focusing, however, on, I think, replicating how a company works. But maybe at some point we can replicate a research department. So Johan gave me the thumbs up. So maybe at some point we'll be there. Okay, good question. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's jump right into the best part of the stream. Oh, what is it? App Store? Chris Figma, yeah.
One more question. I think one of your fans, Lisa, asked, how are you?
I'm good, Lisa. Thank you for asking me. I'm very good today, and yeah, I'm just jumping right into the social media part, actually. So, welcome as always to the greatest part of the stream from the social media team. You see that nice Polaroid that was made when we hit 10K followers. We hit that last week, actually. So, I'm going to guide you through. The table of content is easy. We are looking at the numbers again this week. What did we ship to the world? And the amazing learnings. Oh, I'm still in the Figma board. Oh my God, I hate your notepad so hard, man. So the numbers, wow, amazing. As you saw right here, we hit 12.3K on Instagram, which is actually incredible. So we can finally say we are consistently making 1K followers a week, which is actually nice, so nice that we can say that now. So we are probably gonna be at 30K next week as well, for sure. And yeah, this week we only posted 2 reels. Which is pretty bad, pretty fucking bad, but it is what it is, actually. And we have the statistics here as well, as always. It is wrong for some reason, I don't know why, but you can still see we are gaining, actually, or we are reaching to a lot of accounts, even though we just posted like 2 reels and a lot of reposts, comments, shares as well. It's just amazing. And yeah, so just jump right into what did we ship to the world. We shipped 2 Acta reels. We did 2 reels for Luis Mogner himself, right next to me. We posted 3 test reels, and we have still a lot of in the pipeline. However, we also posted 2 Acta Unfiltered vlogs. So guys, if you have time, if you are bored, just watch the Acta Unfiltered vlogs. They're very, very nice. Justus is putting a lot of effort in there every morning. I posted a short myself on my personal brand account. It's only for the Germans out there, unfortunately. However, yeah, but you can still see amazing content from that guy. He's doing it in English, and Justus as well. In the pipeline, we still have 2 Acta shots left that we are going to post this weekend. And we also have 1 Luis short that we are going to post this weekend. We have 1 YouTube video in the pipeline, which is amazing. And the YouTube video is probably coming on Tuesday, so stay tuned. It's going to be a Luis Mogner vlog. Amazing. We are still posting 3 test reels for the Reflector or Nova launch campaign, because we still need actually 100 testers for the app. So if you want to test it out, you can still do it. It's in the description. I'm going to post a reel. So a lot of stuff in the pipeline. It's because, honestly, guys, I woke up in the middle of the week, and yeah, on Tuesday and Monday I was a bit, I didn't do that much, and on Wednesday I realized I need to.
Word, lazy.
I was lazy. Yeah, I was lazy, and on Wednesday then I grabbed myself and tried to ship as much as possible. But enough talking. I need to brief a little bit more. So should we go on a nice Instagram reel?
Let's do it. By the way, Chris is honestly one of the most hardworking people I know. I mean, if you say you're not productive, okay, Monday, Tuesday was shit. You didn't do much, but typically he's grinding so hard. It's so good, honestly, to see. Before we show the reels, let me just quickly check whether we have the screen audio on. Yes, we can. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead. You can show it.
Even with the mic?
Yeah.
On?
Yeah, just turn it off here.
Okay. Okay, yo.
Before the stream, I spent 20 minutes mapping OBS, which is the streaming software we use, with my MIDI keyboard, with some weird plugin that I had to look sketchy. But now I have buttons to switch between the scenes, you know? Now you see us, now you see the thing. Isn't that amazing? And with one button, I can now turn off this mic so you don't have an echo. It's amazing, that technology. Are you excited? Let's go.
And 2 weeks ago, he quit his full-time job to join a tech startup that makes zero revenue. Yeah, sounds stupid, but stay with me. Johan has been an engineer for over 10 years, and with his skills, he's now trying to solve $1 billion AI problem. If you want to build anything with AI, tools, workflows, automations, agents, you write a prompt, wait for the results, and it turns out you've been building absolute bullshit. But what if the thing you're trying to create is not just built by one AI, but by multiple at once? One for design, one for backend, and one for marketing. Yeah, we have no fucking idea if this works, but that's why we hired John. We document everything, so if you pivot to an AI note-taker in 2 months, you will be the first to know it.
Yeah, so actually, that was such a nice reel, right? Justus did the voiceover when he was a bit healthier than right now. However, we are an open company, right? And we have to say that we missed something because actually I misspelled Johan's name. His name is actually wrote with 2 N's and I just wrote 1, which is pretty bad actually. But I didn't want to re-upload it, so sorry Johan at that point. But the reel is just working too good. And maybe we should also look at the statistics because one Acta Unfiltered vlog actually popped up, which is amazing. 1.7k views from nowhere, which is actually crazy. We just experimented with the thumbnails, as you can see, doing nothing, but you still click on the thumbnail.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know what you are doing there, to be honest, but wow. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. And it's worked pretty well, actually. A lot of people clicked, as you saw. And I mean, look at that. 23 hours ago, and it had 36 views. Yeah, amazing. So
YouTube gods are with us.
YouTube gods are with us, yeah, that's true. So the learnings, if you lack creativity, find ways to attract it. I was in a creativity hole this week actually, and I was very stuck. And I got myself up with music because if I'm listening to music that I don't know, I get very creative. So maybe as a tip, if you are a designer or maybe you're also doing videos, maybe just listen to some music and get your creativity going. And as well, what we also learned this week, which is very important, building a community is always better than reach. Like not always, but I think for some weeks you should focus on building a community, which we did this week, for example. We published a short where we just talked about ArcOS, AgentOS, because many of you just wanted to know what is the actual product, because so many asked in the comments on Instagram, hey, what are you actually building? It was so much confusion there. So we really wanted to solve that and post it on Instagram and just build the community. And not do a sketch. However, we are still doing a sketch, and very nice one that is coming up. Oh, it's gonna be so cool, it's so nice. So the final question, as always, what would you like to see? If you have something, just write it in the comments. We are always excited to listen to you guys. And as always, if you have feedback on our reels, on YouTube videos, what you want to see, just let us know. We are always, our DMs are always open on Instagram and as well on Discord. So, and I will give the mic to the realist person here, Luis Mogner.
Chris, thank you. You got a fan. Someone said, I love this part of the stream more. What do you mean? We're a tech company. We're pouring our hearts into the products we make. And then everyone is just waiting for the media team. Okay, well, we're trying. But thanks anyways for tuning in. So I think this wraps up the week nicely. in Cape Town. Week 3 now, right? That we
Yeah.
finished. Wow, time is moving so fast. It's incredible. So yeah, we'll be back on Monday with Startup University. At I think around lunchtime. We'll maybe post it also in the description, where we talk about the things we learn in building startups. From my experience with the last company I was building, things I'm learning that I think are important for all of us to understand, but also for you outdoor. It's going to be week 4. We're already in week 4. Demo session 3. But thanks, Joe. Du Streber. Bro. Regardless, we're excited to see you back here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. If there's questions, let us know. Besides that, enjoy your weekend. See you again next week. Cheers!